For the past couple of months, me, two fellow students, and my physics teacher have been preparing to go on a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Antarctica. Before leaving, we thought it would be a good idea to write down some goals for the trip. We came up with 3. Our first goal was get to Antarctica. In my mind, getting to Antarctica meant a successful trip. The second goal was to make cross-cultural connections. We didn't just want to be tourists seeing all the cool sights. We wanted to meet new people and learn more about their culture. Last goal was simply do science. This trip is a perfect opportunity for us to learn more about what it's like to be a scientist out in the field. The journey began at Madison Airport, February 15th. After a lot of flying, we arrived at PolarTREC, Chile. In PolarTREC, we soon met with all the members of the expedition. We stayed at a small hostel. The food was different, but the meals gave us a good opportunity to talk with and learn more about the Chilean student.
It's really cool to be here and kind of crazy that everyone's speaking Spanish.
The language barrier was a bit overwhelming. Luckily, Claire, Anna, and Juan were able to translate for me. And in most cases, working to try to understand each other actually helped us bond closer. 2 days into the trip, after a science lab, me and 2 other girls began to feel sick. Long story short, the next morning, about a third of the expedition team was sick. The trip organizers came together and decided to cancel the flight to Antarctica. This came as a huge blow to everyone. We realized we might have just missed our only chance to go to Antarctica. But what we didn't do was let the failed flight ruin our trip. The next days were filled with all sorts of cool adventures to neat places around Chile. We traveled to see Torres del Paine, an awesome mountain range, and a penguin colony. After the fun, we reluctantly headed home. So looking back, our team wanted each member to reflect on the trip as a whole. Remember the goals we made at the beginning? Well, they didn't all work out. For one, we obviously didn't get to Antarctica. But our second goal of making cross-cultural connections was a success beyond expectations. Over the course of only a couple days, the entire expedition team bonded very well. Even though we came from different backgrounds and spoke different languages, we found ourselves easily getting along with the other students. We constantly were laughing, telling stories, and being inspired by each other's love of science. Before leaving, they all wrote us little notes saying how much they were going to miss us. And we were really going to miss them too. Before leaving, we all vowed we'd see each other soon. Our third goal of doing science sort of worked out. Throughout the week, we were able to talk to and hear presentations from all sorts of scientists. Also, on one day, we headed to Enesh to perform a neat science experiment. The lab was examining different proteins found in plants in Antarctica. It was cool to hold the instruments and feel like real scientists, but going into the trip, we had hoped to learn more about Antarctic research and see what a typical day in the life of a field researcher was like. Overall, this was one of the awesomest trips of my life. In just a 2-week span, I learned more and saw more than I think I ever have. Last year, I never would have dreamed I would be seeing wild penguins and giving presentations at a US embassy. To see all that we accomplished in 2 short weeks is crazy, but to go back and accomplish our unfinished goals would be monumental. No matter how hard it might be, Anna, Claire, Juan, and I will find our way back to PolarTREC to board the flight to King George Island, Antarctica.